Okay, thank you guys for tuning in to the Guts and Glory webinar. So we did this workshop in our office about 2 weeks ago, and it was wonderful. I know that this workshop can benefit so many people. So I wanted to make sure that I did this also as a webinar. So if you're a patient in our office and you're watching this because you couldn't come to the workshop, that is wonderful. Also, if you're watching this and you have friends or family that suffer with gut issues, this will be a great workshop to share with them because I know that what you're going to learn is going to be really life changing when it comes to healing the gut and getting the gut functioning better. So I'm Dr. Katie Benson. If you have never, been to one of our webinars or came to our office, I'm glad that you're watching this gut health workshop. So we're going to go ahead and dive into gut health. So we look at 2 out of 3 Americans are burdened by GI issues. 2 out of 3, that's over a majority. And you look at the top related gut searches by state in Ohio. Ours, the most related thing that people look up online is symptoms with heartburn. And whether it's constipation, diarrhea, IBS, GERD, acid reflux, bloating, gas, nausea, abdominal pains. It's like I hear this all the time talking with patients in our office, people that are burdened by these issues. And so if you have any of these problems, this is going to be a great webinar to listen in and learn how to help heal these issues. And, we're all familiar with that song, like nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea, right? And you're told when you have those issues, like, well, you should take Pepto-Bismol, right? But the problem is with gut issues is that the duct tape is not the long-term fix. So studies have found what are called PPIs, which are protein pump inhibitors. They increase the risk of chronic kidney disease, dementia, and 15 million Americans take PPIs. And these are things like Nexium, Prevacid. There are meds that people take that have acid reflux or GERD. And they've been known to link to magnesium deficiencies and increase the risk of pneumonia and weakened bones. In fact, low magnesium levels have been shown to increase the risk of chronic kidney disease. And so the problem is that these medications, whether it's Pepto-Bismol or the acid reflux meds, is that they're not really getting to the underlying cause. They're just covering it up. And a lot of times, especially with acid reflux, that acid is not the problem. And actually taking these medications can make the conditions far worse. So your digestive system is one of the most important systems in your body. Next to your nervous system, it runs and is connected to so much of the body. And in fact, the digestive system has its own nervous system called the enteric nervous system. And with your digestive system, it connects to your body's ability to make serotonin. 90% of the serotonin in your body is made in your gut, and it travels up to your brain via the nervous system. So if you suffer with anxiety or depression, or you take antidepressants, or maybe you're just depressed, that is a sign that you probably have some underlying gut problems as well that are driving those issues. 70% of your immune system is also housed in the gut. So if you're somebody that gets sick a lot, if you feel like you've suffered things like long haul COVID issues, then that's a sign that your gut is not healthy, because if your immune system is not strong, then that reflects the fact that it's probably because your gut is not as healthy as it should be. So there's 3 responsibilities of your gastrointestinal system: digestion, digesting your food, absorbing the vitamins and minerals and nutrients from the food, and then elimination. So, and then the nutrients equal function, but also function of the gut equals nutrients. You can have the best diet in the world and be spending, $1,000 a month at the grocery store on healthy organic food, But yet if your gut isn't fully functioning the way it should, then really you're not getting the best benefit from taking those things or from eating the healthy food. So we want to make sure that we're putting good stuff in, but we also want to make sure that the gut is functioning so it can, utilize the good things that we're eating and be able to get the most out of the good food. So when it comes to the gut, what comes in must come out. So we're going to talk a little bit here about poop. And when it comes to your poop, you should check your poop. We want to look at frequency, we want to look at consistency, and we want to look at color. So you want to learn how to be a great poop detective. So when we look at poop, this is the Bristol poop chart, stool chart. And your poop does tell you a lot about your body. So you want to be more like types 3 and 4. If you're type 1, if you have little hard round chunks, that can be a sign that your body has too much protein and that it's not digesting protein effectively. Type 2 that can be a sign that you could have a lack in good bacteria in your gut. Also, if your stool is backed up and you're more on the constipated side, that can also be a sign that you're not drinking enough water. Your large intestine absorbs the water out of your stool. And if you're dehydrated, it's going to pull water out of your stool and back you up because the body needs water. So that can also be a sign that you're a little bit on the side of dehydration or not drinking enough water. If your stool floats in the toilet and it doesn't sink, that is a sign that you are lacking bile, that you're not having enough bile, which can mean that your body's not able to metabolize or break down the fat. So there's too much fat in your stool and it actually floats. If your stool leaves skid marks on the toilet, that is a lack of pancreatic enzymes or digestive enzymes, that your pancreas and your stomach are not producing the right enzymes or enough of the enzymes to properly digest those foods. And then you look at if it has more ragged edges, it's more of a looser stool. That is a sign of inflammation in your gut. And then that can also be a sign of not enough enzymes in your gut as well. So you do want to look at your poop. You preferably want it to be more of that type 3, type 4 would be ideal when it comes to your stool. You also want to look at the color. Your poop should be brown. That's normal color. If it's yellow, that could be a sign of GERD or an infection. If it's red, minus if you've been eating beets, that could be a sign. Makes your poop red if you eat beets, but also that could be a sign of GI bleeding in the lower GI. If you have green stool, that could be that you're eating high amounts of green foods, but it could also be a sign of bowel disorder or food poisoning. White stool is caused by a lack of bile in your stool. And then black could be caused from an upper GI bleeding, or if you take any supplement like an activated charcoal, that can make your bowels more of a black color as well too. So I did a little video about understanding the digestive system, really breaking things down. So this video is about 9 minutes long, and it really goes into understanding if you're having certain bowel issues, where that could be coming from, and really what drives a lot of chronic gut issues. Okay, so we're going to go into basic kind of understanding of how the digestive system works. We start at the top. As food comes down the esophagus, it enters the stomach. Normal pH of the stomach should be super acidic, between 1 and 3. When we think about acidity, 7 is neutral. So a pH of 6 is 10 times more acidic than a pH of 7. So when we get to a pH of 1 to 3, it is super acidic to the point that if it gets up to where it shouldn't be, like in the esophagus, it's so acidic it will actually start to digest the tissue of our own body. So that normal pH should be between 1 and 3. If your pH becomes too alkaline, you're going to have some major warning signs. One is gas. And that is like right after you eat, you may notice that you get gassy, and that's because of undigested protein. If it's not acidic enough, you're not going to be able to digest protein. And that can actually lead to B12, lack of proper B12 levels in the body. Also heartburn. Normal acidity between 1 and 3 keeps this valve at the top of the stomach shut. As we start to get less acidic, that valve can open up, allowing acid to start to travel back up into the esophagus, and that is where you would get heartburn. The crazy thing is that when people have heartburn, acid reflux, they actually are told to take antacids or protein pump inhibitors, which further decrease the acidity in the stomach, which is actually the worst thing that you could do. The last thing is indigestion. If you eat and you feel like food just sits there, then that's a sign that you have low stomach acid and you're not digesting your food properly. So a normal, what decreases your stomach acidity? If you've taken antacids, that decreases it. If you frequently eat, meaning that if you eat more than 2 to 3 meals a day, if you're adding in snacking in there multiple times a day, then that will lower your stomach acidity. If you eat processed foods, meaning that if your diet is full of other foods that are packaged, meaning you're not just eating mainly fruits and vegetables and good quality protein, healthy fats, if you're eating more packaged and processed foods, that lowers the stomach acidity. And chronic stress will also decrease the acidity in your stomach. So as food comes down, it turns into like a paste, and then it comes down further, and then what happens is the pancreas releases enzymes. And these enzymes are very specific to the foods that you're eating. So if you're eating a steak, as you're chewing that, your brain's gonna send a signal from your mouth to your pancreas telling it to release enzymes that actually help to break down protein. If you're eating bread or carbohydrates, it's gonna release different enzymes to help you break down carbohydrates. The same is true with fat, collagen, even very specific to the point that if you're eating animal protein, you'll release enzymes that actually help to break down the DNA in the animal protein. So the problem is that most people have somewhat of a weakened pancreas. Why? Because too much sugar in the diet stresses the pancreas. And most Americans, our diet has been loaded with sugar or a lot of added sugars that you may not even be aware of. So when you have a weakened pancreas, you're not releasing as enough enzymes, and then that can lead to further undigested protein, but also things like autoimmune, allergies, and digestive issues. Signs that you could have a problem with the pancreas would be pain in your lower left kind of abdomen, stomach area, if it wraps around to your back as well. If you have sticky stool, or if you have bloating, that's a sign that you're not releasing enough of these enzymes to help you digest your food properly. Your next big important thing is going to be your gallbladder. The gallbladder stores bile from the liver. When your food comes down through here, this paste is very acidic. The bile actually helps to alkalize the food paste before it hits the small intestine. It also helps metabolize fat. Signs of gallbladder problems could be bloating, belching, burping, right shoulder pain, and then stools that float because they have too much fat in them. They float to the top of the toilet. And then a decrease in your body's ability to break down fat-soluble vitamins like A, D, E, and K. So if you're not breaking down fats properly, you're not going to have enough of your vitamin A, and you could get warning signs like eye issues and dry skin. How this relates to the stomach: if the stomach is not acidic enough, it won't release these two organs. They're not going to release what they need to properly. So your pancreas won't release the enzymes that it needs, and your gallbladder won't be effectively releasing bile. And then that just kind of creates furthering issues. As we get down into the small intestine, that is where 90% of your digestion occurs in your small intestine. There are over 1,000 strands of different bacteria in the small intestine, good and bad. The good bacteria actually helps your body digest food further and helps with kind of a breaking down and absorbing the nutrients and the minerals. We have this relationship with these good bacteria to where it's like our body's the host, and they also provide us good benefit, helping us digest the good protein. But you can get too much of the bad, which we'll talk about a little bit later, and then that can lead to what's called dysbiosis, meaning those good and bad bacteria aren't in balance. You have too much of the bad versus the good. And that can lead to another condition called SIBO, which is small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. That can lead to issues like constipation to diarrhea, back and forth, bloating, if you feel like you have a big belly, if you feel like sometimes you look like you're pregnant, that is a sign of dysbiosis or SIBO. Big causes of this dysbiosis, where you get too much of the bad, not enough of the good, could be if you've ever taken antibiotics. Antibiotics will wipe out your good bacteria. They kill off some of the bad, but they also wipe out almost a lot of your good, which can cause an overgrowth of the bad. Decreased stomach acid. Normal microbes and pathogens that should have been killed off if your stomach acid was acidic enough, if it's getting too low, then these microbes have survived and they pass down and they can start to overgrow in the small intestine. If you've had an infection or food poisoning, that can cause dysbiosis, SIBO. Too much sugar in your diet, stress, and also if you have taken NSAIDs, which are non-steroid anti-inflammatory drugs. These would be things like Aleve, Advil, ibuprofen as well. So when we look at kind of how this works then, and then the large intestine mainly absorbs water and it absorbs minerals too. So if you're having an issue with constipation, a lot of times that could be because your diet is lacking in water, and the large intestine's job is to absorb water and put it back in your system. So if you don't have enough water, it's going to absorb it from your stool, and that can kind of back things up as well. So how do you increase stomach acidity? Because if you increase the acidity, that helps all these areas work better. One is you can take what's called betaine hydrochloride. That will actually has the building blocks to increase stomach acidity. Apple cider vinegar, taking that before you eat, helps to increase the acidity in your stomach. Fasting, whether you're doing intermittent fasting, where you decrease your eating window to maybe you eat from noon to 6, you're not eating all the time, or if you just limit yourself to doing 2 to 3 meals a day and avoid snacking, that helps increase the stomach acidity. And digestive enzymes also help in this process as well too. Our digestive enzymes with Max Living have pancreatic enzymes that help with digesting the different proteins, carbs, fats, but it also contains the betaine HCl. So we have to really start to get into understanding how all this works and how to really get to the cause of the problem and fix it versus just masking it with medications or just living with the gut issues. Okay, so that kind of gives you an overview. Now we're going to dive into some specific gut issues. One is dysbiosis. Dysbiosis means an imbalance in gut bacteria. You have both good and bad bacteria in the body, in the gut. The good bacteria, their job is they're housed in our intestines, and they help our bodies with digesting food and absorbing nutrients. They actually do a lot of good things for our digestion. But you can get an overgrowth of bad bacteria, and to where there's too much bad and not enough good, and that creates an imbalance. And that can lead to a lot of gut problems. One of those gut problems is what's called SIBO. So SIBO is small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. These are signs that you may have some type of bacterial overgrowth, dysbiosis, upset stomach, fatigue, being like tired and not having energy. If you actually, the amount of energy it takes to digest 3 meals a day, they say it's the equivalent to if you ran 3 miles fast. But if you have a gut that's not functioning properly, you have something like SIBO, then the amount of energy it takes to digest your 3 meals a day is equivalent to running 10 miles a day fast. So if you feel tired a lot, then you could be a sign that your gut is not functioning properly and that you may have something like SIBO. Skin problems, things like eczema, psoriasis, rosacea, those are signs of underlying issues like SIBO. Unintentional weight gain, whether you're losing weight or having trouble, gaining it. Food sensitivities, if you feel like you're developing more and more issues with foods that you're eating. Digestive issues, obviously, constipation, diarrhea. Bloating is a big sign. If you feel like you have a big belly, or you just feel like you're almost look like you're pregnant, that's a sign of SIBO for sure. And then trouble sleeping is also another sign with SIBO. So how do you get SIBO? How do you get this overgrowth of bacteria in the bowel? Several things. If you've ever taken an antibiotic, really in your lifetime, that puts you at risk of developing SIBO because antibiotics wipe out all the bacteria, good and bad, therefore allowing most times the opportunistic bad bacteria to start to overgrow. Also, if you take an NSAIDs, non-steroid and anti-inflammatory drugs, that can affect your bacteria as well. If you eat a lot of conventional grains that have been sprayed with glyphosate, so like wheat, corn, soy products, that glyphosate has been found to be very damaging to the good bacteria in the gut, which can lead to things like SIBO. And then also high stress can affect that as well. So there's many causes, but a lot of people do suffer from that. Another issue is leaky gut. Leaky gut is where the gut junction that should be tight, not allowing pathogens or material from your bowels to leak into your body. It starts to spread and it develops holes to where certain microbes, pathogens, undigested food, waste material starts to leak out into your body, into your bloodstream, thus causing a lot of problems with autoimmune, a whole cascade of issues. It kind of wreaks havoc on your body. So another thing is inflammation in your gut can lead to systemic inflammation in your body. So just chronic pain, joint pain, muscle pain, a body that feels stiff and tight all the time, that is a sign of underlying gut inflammation. So is chronic loose stools. If you feel like you eat food and you better get to the bathroom shortly after you eat, that is a sign of inflammation. Chronic loose stools is also a sign of inflammation in the gut as well. So we do a test called GI effects stool test, and it's a very comprehensive stool test. So if you're watching this and you are somebody that has some major gut problems, diarrhea for years or constipation for years or irritable bowel or just gut problems that you've tried to do some things and they're not getting better, this stool test really shows you what's driving the issue, whether it's inflammation, whether it's dysbiosis, whether you need probiotic support or antimicrobial if you need to kill off the bad bacteria overgrowth. So that is a good test that we offer our patients, and it can really help to see if that's driving some of your gut issues. Also, if you look at this bottom corner of the slide, if your gut bacteria are out of balance and you have high of these bad bacteria, it shows you how it can also lead to metabolic syndrome, chronic fatigue, autoimmune, high blood pressure, mood disorders. So a lot of this, when these microbes are out of balance, it drives a lot of other health problems in the body. And we also offer a Nutra-Eval testing just to kind of show you where you are at with all your vitamins, all your minerals. This also picks up on gut dysfunction as well. And it's a good way to just kind of not to guess, but to test and to really see underlying problems that could be going on in your body, deficiencies, gut issues, toxicity issues. This is a great tool to really kind of dive in deep when it comes to getting your health to the next level. So how do we reset the gut? That's what we're going to go into. We understand what the problems are, whether it's dysbiosis, SIBO, not enough acid in the stomach that's driving these issues. So how do we work on healing it? One is you want to start eating quality whole foods. Good bacteria in the gut, your good healthy bacteria, they love vegetables and fiber. So raw fruits and vegetables are wonderful for feeding those good healthy bacteria that we need in our gut. What the bad bacteria love are sugar. So eating diets high in processed food and sugar kind of feeds the bad bacteria. Yet eating diets that are high in plant-based, high fiber diets with lots of vegetables, lots of fruits, those are wonderful for helping to heal the gut. So healthy fats are wonderful for gut health. Adding things like avocado, coconut products like coconut oil, coconut flakes, full fat coconut milk, extra virgin olive oil, grass-fed butter, wild-caught salmon, walnuts, flax seeds, omega-3 fatty acids, grass-fed beef or lamb, and pasture-raised eggs. The healthy fats help to heal the gut. So you do want to make sure that your diet includes an ample amount of healthy fats from good sources like these. Probiotic rich foods that actually have good bacteria in them. One would be sauerkraut. Bubby's Sauerkraut is a brand that I really like. You can buy that at Kroger or Meijer. Kimchi, Cleveland brand is a good brand. Organic grass-fed kefir. If you really want to get good probiotic, they found that yogurt really does not have a lot of good probiotic that makes it to the gut. Kefir is much better. It's like yogurt. It's a little bit more water, like waterier, liquider, and it's higher in the good bacteria. Pickled vegetables, kombucha tea, adding these good probiotic-rich foods are good for your diet. Bone broth. Bone broth is wonderful in healing the gut lining, helping knock out gut inflammation. It's also very good for things like leaky gut. So you can make your own bone broth with organic, like bones, beef bones, make your own stock bone broth, or you can do things like our Pure Path protein, which is organic, grass-fed, high quality bone broth. And that's what I prefer. It's easier than making your own bone broth. And I just make my smoothies out of the Pure Path bone broth protein. So if you have any type of gut issue, that would be a very good protein to use for your smoothies, or you can just mix it with water and drink it as well. Antioxidant rich berries, they kind of twofold. They are high in antioxidants, which help fight off inflammation. They also have prebiotic, that good fiber that's very good for the digestive system. And then ginger is very soothing. It's also super anti-inflammatory. Grating fresh ginger on your foods or just slicing it and brewing it with some green tea and drinking that would be a wonderful thing for gut health. And then we're going to dive into the 3 R's of gut healing. So these are kind of the 3 things you do to help heal the gut and getting to the root cause of the problems. One is we have to remove the bad critters. So most people have some level of that bad bacterial overgrowth, the dysbiosis, whether you've taken antibiotics or you have a high stress lifestyle or just a history of poor diet, too much sugar, or you take NSAIDs, or you've taken acid reflux medication, or you've had an infection, or you've had food poisoning. Lots of things can cause that overgrowth. But number one thing is we have to remove the bad bacteria. So how do you do that? One thing that we have, one great product that we have is our Max GI. I love the Max GI product because it contains lysosome, which is an enzyme that actually pokes holes in the cell membranes of these bad bacteria, actually helping to kill the bad bacteria overgrowth in our bowel. It also contains clove, thyme, and oregano essential oil powders that are very antimicrobial, meaning those oils, thyme, oregano, and clove help to kill off bad bacterial overgrowth. Also, things like yeast, bad bacteria, fungus, they can help to kill that off in the bowel. So the product, the Max GI, does help in removing that bad bacterial overgrowth and getting rid of the kind of the bad critters in our gut. Also, you want to remove the things that drive it. So diets high in sugar, we got to remove the sugar. We also want to remove a lot of the grains. We want to go more on a grain-free diet where you try to not just go gluten-free, but you try to go grain-free, where you're cutting out rice and corn and wheat and just trying to, try to go grain-free. And a benefit in doing that is you get rid of a lot of your exposure to glyphosate, which is the spray that they spray on a lot of the grains, the chemical, and that's been shown to really wreak havoc on our gut health. So next step is we repair the gut lining. If you look at that picture, how these cells are kind of all together, that's a nice tight gut lining. Most people with gut issues have some level of where that has separated to where now things that should have been kept in our gut are able to pass through and get into our body and wreak havoc on our tissues and on our immune system. So you want to repair those tight junctions. That happens through things like the bone broth. That also happens through products like that are in our gut renewal powder. So I'll talk about that in a little bit, the things that are in the gut renewal, but that helps to heal and repair, what they call heal and seal, where you're helping heal the gut lining, sealing it to where it actually starts to function better. And then the last R of gut healing is re-inoculate, meaning you have to then reintroduce the good bacteria into the bowels. A high quality probiotic is very good for this. And then this is also where eating your fermented rich foods like kimchi, sauerkraut, kefir also help to reintroduce that good bacteria into the bowels as well. So the gut health bundle, this is something that I feel like most people can really benefit from, because it kind of helps you with everything you need to get through the remove, repair, and then the re-inoculate. So the Max GI is going to be the thing that helps to remove and the bad bacterial overgrowth. The digestive enzymes contain the betaine HCl, which helps increase stomach acid, like we learned earlier. That decrease in stomach acidity drives issues with the pancreas, with digestive enzymes, with the gallbladder and bile. And when you don't have good stomach acid, then the microbes that should have been killed off in your gut now pass through and can establish into causing things like dysbiosis and SIBO. So the digestive enzymes has the betaine HCl, and it also has a combination of pancreatic, gallbladder, bile, digestive enzymes that actually help you metabolize and break down the foods that you're eating. So digestive enzymes are wonderful for helping heal the gut. And then the gut renewal powder has L-glutamine, which is great for a leaky gut, helping to heal the gut. Also has things like marshmallow root. It has several herbs that are very powerhouse in healing the gut lining and repairing the gut. So the gut renewal powder is wonderful for the phase of healing and repairing. And then the probiotic 50B is a very high dose probiotic. It contains over 10 strands of beneficial bacteria. And it's formulated in capsules that are heat and light resistant. So they have a long shelf life, and they're formulated with a capsule that actually allows it to get through the acid in your stomach and do its job in your intestines. A lot of the probiotics you take, number one, they aren't shelf stable. So you're really kind of wasting your money because they don't have the good bacteria probiotic in them anymore. And number two, they don't make it past the stomach. So therefore, you're not getting that good bacteria into the gut. So if you're watching the webinar, the Gut Health Bundle, we will be offering that in our office. It's 20% off. And so you actually save $30 with the gut health bundle. And this is a great promotion even on the website that is discounted even more. So if you watch this and you're a patient, you can come into the office. Just let our team know that you watched the webinar and you want to get the gut bundle, and we'll make sure that you get the discount for the gut health bundle. Stress also affects your gut. So stress puts your body in fight or flight, which shuts down a lot of the gut function. It takes our bodies out of rest and digest and puts it into fight or flight mode. So you do want to evaluate your stress and try to, come up with healthy ways to de-stress your life and healthy stress responses, whether that's exercise, prayer, going on a walk, meditation, and deep breathing. You want to work on trying to reduce your body's stress response. And then structure does affect function. We find that the spine is connected to the gut health. So if you have misalignments in your spine, that can be stressing the nerves that go to your gut, causing it not to function properly. And that gut-brain connection, they call the gut the second brain. So all of those neurotransmitters like dopamine and serotonin, they travel back up the nervous system to the brain. So if your spine is out of alignment, that can affect how your gut functions. That's why patients under chiropractic care, they notice that their gut functions better. They go to the bathroom better. Their gut feels better when they start to get their body adjusted and get it functioning better. These can be warning signs if you happen to be watching this webinar and you are not a patient in our office, you're not under chiropractic care. These are warning signs that you could have misalignments or problems in your spine. If you suffer any of these issues, that could be a sign that you may need to get your spine checked and to see how that could be connected to not only causing these issues, but driving gut issues as well. Gut health perspective. This is a perspective that we have available in the office. It goes through how to take the gut health supplements and how to take those properly, what time of day to take them, how long to take them to kind of properly go through the heal and the repair, remove, repair, and re-inoculate phases of gut health. So if you are interested in diving into the gut health, then make sure that you pick up that perspective sheet. You can also get more information on our website, drbenson.maxliving.com. You can even schedule an appointment to come into the office if you're suffering with these gut issues and you would like further help on how to improve them. Then you can go to the website, schedule an appointment to come in and get an evaluation as well. So on our Facebook page, our website is a great resource. If you are watching this webinar and you are wanting to work on healing the gut and you're wanting to get going on the gut health bundle, I recommend, as far as the dosage go, the Max GI, you want to take those on an empty stomach, preferably before bed. And you can take between 2 or 4. If you do have a lot of gut problems, then you may want to start with 4. And it's good to take it at night because you don't want a lot of food in competition with that. And then at night when you're sleeping and you're not eating, it can get to the intestines and start to work on killing that bad bacterial overgrowth. You also take the digestive enzymes in the repair phase, in the remove phase as well. So digestive enzymes are taken every time you eat food. So if you eat 1 meal a day, you'll take them once a day. If you eat 2 meals a day, you take them twice a day. If you eat 4 times a day, you'll take them 4 times a day. You take them every time before you eat food. You're taking your digestive enzymes. So these two really help with the remove phase. And then the gut renewal powder, after you do these for 2 weeks, then you go on to the gut renewal phase of the healing and sealing and helping to repair the gut lining. I recommend the gut renewal powder. You just put it in water and drink it. And you do that twice a day, 1 scoop twice a day. And then you could put it in your smoothies if you do smoothies, but you can also just drink it with water. And you'll continue to do the gut renewal powder and the digestive enzymes. You'll keep up with those kind of for the next 2 weeks. And then we switch out to then the reinoculate phase. So we're going to keep up with the gut renewal powder during that last 2 weeks. And then we do the probiotic. And that probiotic is like a 30-day supply. You take one a day, and then you can kind of finish out your gut renewal powder during that last kind of 30 days with that probiotic. And that will effectively take you through the remove, the repair, and the reinoculate phase. So it's 2 weeks with the Max GI and the digestive enzymes. And then that should put you through that Max GI. If you're taking 4 a day, that's about a 2-week supply. If you're taking 2 a day, that'll last longer. And then you'll take the digestive enzymes along with that. And then we switch into the repair phase where we keep up with the digestive enzymes. We start doing the gut renewal powder, and that can last about 2 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks. And then we transition into the reinoculate, where we'll keep up with the rest of the gut renewal powder. And then you'll do the probiotic to really reestablish that good bacteria strains into your gut. So I hope you enjoyed the webinar. I hope you learned a lot. If you're suffering with the gut issues, I encourage you, don't live with them. Don't ignore them. Gut issues can turn into a lot of long-term health issues, even more severe health problems. So if you're having the constipation, diarrhea, bloating, food sensitivities, acid reflux, then you really do want to dive into healing the gut and kind of working on fixing the cause of these issues. Thanks so much.